we were talking about family because it's Christmas time, and Christmas is all about family and friends and whatever. So I thought, it'd be kind of cool to integrate the sport and what we're doing with that. And you were like my first choice because you've got two young, very young, up-and-coming racers, and you guys are doing lots of different stuff, getting involved with the Portland Karting Association. So tell me, what's your take on karting and families, and kind of bring us up to date on how you guys found out about it and what you think of it?
Well, we love karting. It's kind of been it for our family. Once we found it, we're hooked. We kind of happened on it just by coincidence. My 9-year-old, we had tried just about every sport out there imaginable, and just nothing fit with him. He didn't enjoy anything, and we really were just looking for something to get him into. We didn't think that it would turn out to be a family affair by any means. But once we got into it, and, Mason just absolutely loves it. It's, that's all he thinks about is karting. He's out of his kart for a week, and he's begging to get back in it. So, but it ended up being that thing. I mean, how many sports out there are there that you know of that an entire family can participate in all at the same time? And that's what it's become for us. Race weekends, we have the whole family out there, and we're competing as a team. And I say that because it's not just about the driver for us. It's about, Paul working on the cart, and Bryce and Eliza in the stands cheering, and and now Bryce has started driving this last year. He just turned 6 last week, so he's driven 2 races so far, and he really enjoys it too. And so not as much as his brother. It may not be it, but it was one of those things that, we have the room in the garage, and we thought, well, we'll get him the cart, and if he wants to go out there and do it, then he can, and if he doesn't want to, then that's fine too. But he really enjoys being out there, and he washes the cart for his brother and things like that. So it's turned into a family affair for us.
That's really awesome. And you said, well, Bryce maybe not so much as Mason, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, kids play basketball, they play baseball. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to aspire to be a
right
professional baseball player. It's just it's a great thing to do.
Yeah, you just wait though. Eliza Jane turns 5 in February, and I'll bet you she's the one that she talks about it more so than Bryce. But I bet you as soon as his sister's out on the track, somebody else is going to want to be out there more. So we're prepared if that's the case.
Right, and so and with that being said, I know there's a lot of cool stuff like the family being involved, mom and dad being there, the whole family working together. Have you noticed any other benefits in the kids? I mean, have their grades improved, or have you noticed, just the camaraderie within the kids? Have you noticed anything beneficial from doing the karting thing?
Yeah, and that's one thing that why we're kind of hooked on it is it really keeps us it's a sport that it keeps us together as a family. As we grow as a team, we grow as a family, and vice versa. So we're, we figured out really early on that we weren't going to succeed in racing just by how our driver did. We had to, to work as a team. And I think that has really helped us out on other levels within our family. I haven't really seen as much like grade-wise or something like that, because Mason was always a really good student anyway. But the one thing that I can say with Mason is it has really helped his self-confidence and his esteem. This was a child that, if you remember when you first started seeing him at the track, a lot of times people would think, oh, yeah, that's the kid that hides behind his mom. And I didn't think he would stick with karting because I just wasn't sure, that it didn't seem like it was in his personality. But when he put on that helmet, he was a different kid. that has come out more in his personality now, where he is more confident. He will go up and introduce himself to a new kid at school, or whereas maybe he wouldn't before, and things like that. And the other thing that it's really helped us out with as a family is, I think, you really have to work on your communication skills. Dad and Mason have to be able to communicate with each other at the track, what's happening with that cart, so that one can make the adjustments and the other can drive. And especially when you have two people that are very much alike and are having trouble communicating, this is one sport that forces them into figuring out how they're going to communicate. And then that follows through in the rest of your family life.
Man, that's awesome.
So I have found out that I am not as much of a mediator as I was a couple years ago, because the two of them have really learned to communicate outside of the track also, because this sport has forced them to do that.
Wow. So if you had a family maybe that was on the fence, and if anybody's got any questions, we're talking to Jennifer Larson-Smart from McMinnville, and we're talking family with her, family in karting. If you've got some questions, man, chime in on the chat thing really quick before we let her go, and we'll see if any of you have any questions. We'll see if she can answer them. But so if you had a family sitting there and they were wondering if they were on the fence about whether or not they wanted to get involved or if it was a good thing. I mean, a little bit financially, maybe it can be a strap, but I guess then again, you can look at it as, you're going to spend some money somewhere on something. So,
right.
You might as well do something in this family. But what would you tell them, if they were on the fence looking to get into karting?
Well, part of the problem with karting is we found when we first got involved is you don't just find the information. You have to search out the information. And if you go out there and you look for it, there are so many kart clubs and shops and people out there that can answer questions. And really, that's one thing that we have found getting into karting is, I'll tell you, some of the karting families, the people that we've met are some of the best people we've ever met, and some of our best friends now. And they've always been willing to help out and answer questions. So, get on Facebook, get on Google and search out your local club. Go out there and go to the track. We initially went to a winter race out at McMinnville where it's a little bit more laid back and we were able to talk to people. But, you definitely get out there. Don't make the one mistake we made is we ran out and bought a cart and then figured out after the fact that it was completely the wrong cart and the wrong engine for what we needed to be doing. And so, we tend to jump in with both feet anyway, but there are plenty of resources out there. You just have to search them out a little bit.
That's awesome. Hey, for those of you just joining in, we're talking to Jennifer Larson-Smart. We're talking family and karting with her. I wanted to say, Jennifer, thank you so much for being on. We could probably go on for hours with this topic, and we'll have you back as we go along and kind of get an update on how things are going. Because I know you guys are doing the Gold Cup and some stuff like that. So we'll make it a point to get you back on here just to give everybody an update, and we'll kind of follow you in your treks here in karting.
Sounds great. Thanks, Terry.
Yeah.
Hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much, and I just want to say thank you so much for your support. You've been a huge supporter of me and, of course, now the show, and I just want to say I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate your support too, Terry. Thanks.
Okay, Jennifer. Thank you so much.
Okay, good night. Bye-bye.
That was Jennifer Larson-Smart, everybody. She's a great lady. She's got some young guns coming up, Blazing Bryce and Racing Mason, and you'll be seeing them at the regional events, the Northwest Gold Cup, as well as their local stuff down at McMinnville Raceway Park. So good stuff. This was awesome. I went to Salem, the indoor, and Chris Hager, you never know what you're going to get. So I was down at Salem, and I asked him, I said, so, hey, Chris, so, you're getting ready for the BK, you're out, a couple guys were calling him out, hey, we want you to run Yamaha. So he came down with a Yamaha, and he swept, did pretty good. But, I asked him, so you learn anything for the Buddha, or are you gaining on it? And this was Hager's response.
The beer's cold. That's the important part right there. We've got a little whiskey left over from last night, and everybody feels pretty good this morning. You guys feeling all right after drinking last night? Everybody good? They're good.
Well, there you go. The beer is cold. That's the important thing. It was quite a race down there at Salem. It was the before the break. It was the final single day slideway Saturday. And once again, sizzling Seth Waddell from Battleground, Washington, won it. Hunter Meyer was second. In the Junior 1 4-cycle, Wade Bauman, Big Daddy Wade, won it again. He's from Aloha. And racing Mason Smart. He's kind of doing double duty, wanted to get some time in. So he was down there on the dirt, and he was second place. Just talked to his mom. KT Light was Chris Hager, Richard Spear, and Wetline's Chris Passanetti, the assassin, was third. Dana Ward, shifter driver, standout, and champ on the Can-Am a couple of years ago. He was fourth, and he did a nice job down there. Jumped in, ran a KT. So I'm telling you, guys, it's great stuff. It's only going to help your asphalt stuff by running the dirt. It's certainly not going to hurt it. So great job, Dana Ward. He was awesome. AKRA Builder Prepared was from Dallas. It was Chris Hatch, Black Star Motorsports. And I asked him the same thing. Hey, how was your kart? Did you learn anything? And here was Hatch's response.
The track was really smooth, really good. It's probably the best it's been all year, but it was different than it had been all year as well. So, the setups had to change a little bit, but we got it handling really well, and it was smooth as glass. And Bob and his crew just do an awesome job putting together a playground for us to race out here.
So he won it. Greg Normandin was second from all. Brian Green third. Waddell was fourth, and Steve King was in the fifth spot. Super Sport 200. Boy, this was quite a race. Your winner was Danny Cahill, the King. He got it done. Boy, and it was a shootout. They popped them. They had problems. They missed a weekend. They popped the motor. They got it back. They got one back together, so they had to miss a week, but they got it back together and popped that one. So then they had to put their backup on again, and they went out and they won it. It was the last couple laps. Boy, it was a free for all. Dennis Flint was awesome in the final. Ty Easton was fast in the first heat race, and then he kind of faded. He was still there. It could have been anybody's. But boy, for Cahill they had a head gasket issue, the whole thing. So they just yarded the thing off, put a different one on. He goes out and wins Super Sport Heavy. That's a great class. That's a clone class. Good stuff there. KT Heavy, of course, was Chris Hager. He swept. Wetline's Chris the Assassin Passanetti was second. Richard Spear, one of the hottest guys going, he was third. Boy, the heat got turned up. Hager got there, and it was you could see it was kind of game on. So it was some good stuff. The AKRA Builder Prepared, they can't use tire dope anymore, and I think that's a good thing. I asked Chris Hatch about it, and this was his response.
You know what? I think it gives me a little bit of an advantage because I have a lot of time in speedway karts, so I know how to make a car handle mechanically instead of chemically. So the other guys are kind of scratching their head a little bit to keep up with this track that's changing every time. And I think I have a little advantage with my experience to tune by the seat of my pants. But the fun part is it's got us back to tuning and working together and doing the physics and the mechanics and that part of it instead of just trying to be chemical scientists and giving ourselves cancer.
And I think he's right. Boy, there's something to be said for that as far as being able to set the thing up. And that AKRA, it's been growing, and it